When we talk about grammar, we talk about language. And when we teach a language, we are in the field of a scientific discipline called linguistics. That is why I wanted to start talking about what is linguistics. And here we've got some definitions. Linguistics is the scientific study of the language and its structure, including the study of grammar, syntax, and phonetics. These are subjects that you learn in your teacher training college, because in your teacher training college, you're learning to be English teachers, and English is a language. You have to be language teachers. There are specific branches of linguistics, and they include sociolinguistics, dialectology, psycholinguistics, computational linguistics, etc. There are many. The work of linguists fall into two main areas, language structure and language use. That is why now we are studying the language structure. In this part of the subject, we are going to focus on language structure. When we study VINs, when we do the worksheets, at that moment we are focused on language in use. Linguistics interested in language structure consider the formal properties of language, and this is what we are going to study in this part of the subject, including word structure, morphology, we will be studying that, sentence structure, syntax, and speech sounds, etc., that you are studying in phonetics, and meaning of language that you will study next year in some branch of some subjects. I don't remember exactly what, but you will be studying some semantics. Other fields of study of linguistics, because linguistics cover language enters almost every area of human activity. So there are many subfields of linguistics, like psycholinguistics, historical linguistics, applied linguistics, and this is what we do. What we do is applied linguistics, that is to say, the application of the study of language to language teaching. And so now, yes, we go to the definition of grammar. One definition of grammar, there are many, but grammar is the whole system and structure of a language. System and structure. And it depends on what area we are going to study. We are going to focus on the system or the structure. So, it is the whole system and structure of a language, or of languages in general, usually taken as consisting of syntax and morphology, including inflections, and sometimes also phonology and semantics. As I said before, in this part of the subject, we are going to focus on syntax and morphology. More of that soon. What is syntax? Syntax studies how words are arranged in a sentence to create well-formed sentences in a language. Yes, how words are stringed together at the same level. And so the limit of syntactic study is the sentence. We are not going to go beyond the sentence. What is morphology? It is the study of the internal structure of words and forms, a core part of linguistic study today. And I should say that in this subject, we are going to study words, and we are going to study grammatical units. That is to say, units that stay together when we analyze them. And then we've got phonology. I included this here because it is part of linguistics, and it was mentioned before, in which we study systems of sounds and how to pronounce those sounds when we are talking about pedagogically phonology and phonetics. Semantics, that has to do with meaning. And lastly, what we are going to do in the subject is to analyze sentences. And so why is it that we analyze sentences? And I found this on the internet. A sentence is composed of words grouped into phrases and clauses. Analyzing, parsing, that's another way of calling word analysis, sentence analysis. Analyzing a sentence and its components helps you understand the function of each of its nouns, verbs, and modifiers in the sentence, so you can write better sentences. And I would add, you can write better sentences and you can teach how to write better sentences, and you can detect when there is a problem when a student is writing. You can determine the function of each component. This is something we will be talking about, the function of each component of a sentence from its position in the sentence, or you can organize the words into a diagram to graphically display their functions. All this is what we are going to do. So we are going to start with a sentence and its parts, and that is why we are going to go to the 5 grammatical units. Halliday was a linguist, and he designed a rank. He changed it a little bit later, but I prefer to stay with this one. A rank that goes from a sentence to a morpheme. Let's see. Sentence. What is a sentence? The man that was dancing is my brother. That is a sentence. So what is the definition of sentence? What is a sentence? Let's see. A sentence has been defined as the largest unit in syntax. It is usually, though not entirely satisfactorily, defined as a string of words that expresses a proposition and that begins in a capital letter and ends in a full stop. So that is a sentence, and conventionally we have decided, or somebody decided in the past, that it starts with a capital letter and it begins with a capital letter and it ends with a full stop. That is why we have to insist that our students write that capital letter, that conventional capital letter that helps the brain understand that this is the beginning of an idea, and use the full stop that helps the brain understand that that is the end of an idea. And so here it says expresses a proposition. And so what is a proposition? A semantic notion which denotes a situation or action expressed by means of a sentence. A semantic notion, that is to say, it is meaning. It is an utterance, a string of words that expresses meaning. Another, more basic definition, subject and predicate. In simple terms, a sentence is a set of words that contain a subject and a predicate. It's not always exactly like that, but well, just to begin, it may be useful. So we've got an example. You speak English. We've got a subject and a predicate. Another definition, the sentence is a grammatical unit made up of a subject, noun phrase, or a predicate, verb phrase. In a short time, you will understand why we've got this dichotomy, subject, noun phrase, predicate, verb phrase. Now let's go back to the 5 grammatical units. So we've got the first level, that is the sentence. The second level, that is the clause. Let's look at this. The man that was dancing, is my brother. That was dancing. So here we've got 2 clauses. The man is my brother, and he, that is replacing he, was dancing. This comes from 2 sentences. The man, or 2 ideas. The man is my brother. The man was dancing. So this has been blended into only one. But this renders the fact that there is a sentence, and within that sentence there is a clause. And that clause is subordinated to the main sentence, to the main clause, that is, the man is my brother. So what we have here is a clause. A clause is a sentence within a sentence. For example, that he will be okay is a subordinate clause. Or that was dancing in our case. So functioning as direct object. Well, this is referring to another example given there. And so there is a matrix clause. The man is my brother would be the matrix. And that was dancing is the subordinate clause. Let's see, because clauses are classified. There is a classification of clauses. There are main clauses, in our case, the man is my brother, and subordinate clauses, in our case, that was dancing. So those are subordinate clauses. And later, after the winter break, we're going to see that there are different kinds of clauses, subordinate clauses, sorry. Noun clauses, relative clauses, and adverbial clauses. Just for you to know, noun clauses are nominal. For example, that she is a liar is beyond my knowledge. That she is a liar, something is beyond my knowledge. That is a noun clause because it can be replaced by the word something. Relative clauses, we know them very well. The man who came here yesterday is my father. Who came here yesterday is a relative clause. And adverbial clauses, when she entered the room, I knew there would be trouble. When she entered the room is an adverbial clause. It is giving us information about, in this case, time.